Hello, this is Maria Gevorkyan for the Introduction to Computer Science Assignment 5. The first exercise is we have two matrices and I need to write a program to compute matrix product. So in utils.js I introduced constant met1 and met2 array for the initial matrix numbers a1, a2, a3, a4, b1, b2, b3, b4. And as it's uh, written in the assignment paper, A1 goes to B1, A2 to B3, A1, B2, A2, B4, and so on. So I wrote a function matrix product met1 and met2. The initial result is nothing, line 1 initially is nothing, line 2 initially is nothing. I have written a value with indexes of the array numbers. For example, A1 is met1, 0, 0. So this is value four values for each of these things inside. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I created two arrays, line 1 and line 2, for this line and this line. The result is gonna be having line 1 and line 2 inside it. So we have a big array result which has two arrays inside, line 1 and 2, which both have two values inside, value 1, value 2, in value 3, value line 2. I used push to push the values inside the line 1, 2, and then push the line 1 and 2 into result. So log result. So then the function it's called printing the results. Here I was testing the function. It's commented, so it's not. It just was calling the function and naming the initial values a1, 2, and so on. The second function, second exercise, we are given the same two matrices and we need to compute the sum of matrices as it's given here. So I did the same thing, line 1, line 2, value 1 has line 1 and value 2 has line 2, since it wasn't needed to separate values for each of these parts. So I have sum 1, sum 2, it's pushed in first line, second line, then both of them are pushed into the sum. Then it's printing the sum. I was trying the function, again I used values for them to see if it's actually working the way I wanted to. So the third function, sum of array, the third exercise is sum of each row. So we have this matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's printing an array which has a sum of each row in your array. For example, 1 plus 2, 1, 3. Plus 3 is 6. So we need to write two functions for that. The first function is sum of array. This function, for this function I used for loop. It's going from index 0 to index array length minus 1. For each cycle it's going index plus plus. The sum is plusing the array index. For example, the first one index is 0, then index is 1, then index is 3. 3 is the length minus 1, so it's the sum is first one plus second one plus third one. We have a sum of arrays. Then I created a function sum of each row. And here I'm using sum of arrays inside in a result, so it's easier for the computer to compute. In a for loop, which has indexes from 0 to length minus 1 and plus plus, so each row it has a sum of the array, then it goes as a result in a result array, because result is an array here. I was trying if the function is working. I'm using console log because I didn't write console log in the function, so it doesn't printing the stuff. It was safer for me to console print it outside the function. I used different numbers and it was working. So for the fourth and fifth exercises, I needed write with LangSync. I downloaded it from the internet, and here is a prompt required LangSync, so I can use it now. The first exercise is to write a function that counts the words of the input of the user, the text of the input of the user. So here's the function, the name is count words. The initial count is 0, I used let so we can't change. The constant sentence is prompt question, write your text to the count words. This is writing in the terminal when I am calling the function, write your text to the count of words, and then the is inputting some text. So met letter false. Initially I wrote the met letter false. For example, I will show it in this text. Okay. Met letter initially is false, so when it comes to here, it's not a letter. The for loop, it has inside, it goes from index 0 to the last index, and so it's going index plus 1 each loop. So it has a if inside. If the letter the computer met is a space, if met letter is true, the count goes plus 1. The count is the count of words. Otherwise, met letter is false initialing here. So, for example, it came here. It's a space. It's initializing the met letter as false to go on. If the next one is space, it goes on and initializing it false again until it goes here and meets a letter actually. Here, else. If it's not a space, it's a letter and it initializing the letter true. So whenever it goes from space to letter, the met letter is true. It's true until it comes here. It comes to the space again, the count goes plus 1. And then I added if met letter count plus 1 because the function is not counting the first one. So I added a count, plus 1 to count outside the for loop. Otherwise, it will add 1 to the word count each loop. Then I added console log, the number of words is plus count, so the user can see. Here I just called the count words because it has console log in it and read sync too, so it doesn't need anything else to work in terminal. The fifth one is a trim. We have a string trim function and we needed to write similar one without using that function. So the result initially is nothing. I introduced the constants, prompt question, write your trim. It's writing in terminal, it's writing your text to trim to user. Let's start index b0 and index is start length -1. I have a I have two for loops. The first for loop is for counting the spaces from the first, and when it comes to the space, it comes to start index e. It goes from index 0 to index length till the spaces are finished and it met a letter. When it met a letter, it ends with the index I and saves it for later as break. It's not a space, it's getting out from the if. The second for loop is reversed string, so it counts the spaces in the end of the function, in the end of the input. It works the same way. At the end, I have a return sentence substring. Substring is printing the part of the text that starts from start index, the number of index here, and end index, and not counting the end index. So I plus 1. So it's not missing the last word, the last letter. Then I added console log. Your trim text is trim, so the user sees it. Model exports. I wrote all the function names here, so I can use the functions from the main.js. Here's the main.js. Constant reply sync require sync. Simple, and console utils is require utils.js, so I can utils dot the function name and use the functions from util.js. So matrix product, sum of matrices have console log in their functions as well as count words in trim. So I just call them with utils, and the util sum of each row didn't have a console log in it, so I added console log in. I added numbers here so I can track the results if it's true or not. See how it works. The first one here works, I checked it before. The second one works too, and the third one works too. The count words here asks to write a text. The best number of words is 3 to 3. Spaces, 3 spaces, list spaces, 3 spaces. Okay, let's try again. 3. Okay, so I fixed the problem. The problem is here. In trim, I console log under the return result. Accidentally shipped the 2 lines, so that's why it wasn't working. So let's try the functions. The metrics are working. So count words 3 working spaces. Now it's working. So I uploaded everything in GitHub. This was it. Thank you.